Welcome back to The Balance Sheet with me as guest presenter this week, David Hodges. I'm delighted to be joined by co-founder of the award-winning full-stack modeler, Giles Male. Giles is an experienced financial modeler and trainer with over 15 years experience in helping Excel users at all skill levels. He's a CIMA qualified accountant, a Microsoft MVP, and one of only 7 individuals worldwide to hold all 3 certifications from the Financial Modelling Institute. This week, we'll be discussing the importance of Excel in the accountancy world, what actually is a Microsoft MVP, the impact of AI on the future of Excel, and of course, that infamous MVP video. Giles, thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure to be here. I didn't even know this was called The Balance Sheet. How relevant is that to me?
Exactly. Well, we'll get on to that.
Okay.
Right, now me and Giles.
So just to be clear, you have written down how we know each other to tell people in this podcast.
Yes,
You've written it down.
I've written it down.
You're going to read.
Because I couldn't believe it's been over 10 years.
How do we know each other, Dave?
Well, we met at the Chilworth Manor Hotel over 10 years ago. You were at Arkiva. I think you were looking to make your first step out into the interim world. So, yeah, you met myself and I think Rod, Mr. Hutchings.
You guys were pivotal in my first ever move away from an employee. So yeah,
exactly. I think we got your first gig with Carnival.
You got me 2 or 3, but yeah, the first one, and then I went back to Carnival later, I think through you as well. So yeah, hence me being here.
Absolutely. And I suppose we've got to start with the MVP, the humbly acclaimed MVP that you are. But I suppose for our listeners and viewers, what actually is a Microsoft MVP?
Yeah, so the serious side of it is that Microsoft have a group of most valuable professionals, MVP.
Okay.
I don't know the exact stats. I think there's maybe a couple of hundred Excel-related MVPs, so they're generally broken down by like the products. I think there might be a couple of thousand globally for all of the Microsoft products. And yeah, I got my first award last year. So you have to be nominated by another MVP, and then you go through an assessment process where you have to essentially kind of submit how you think you add value, and none of it can really be linked to profit-making work. So if I were to just list all the stuff I do for full stack, they would just reject it. So it's the other stuff that I've done, like being involved in like the World Cup, the Excel World Championship, posting content online for free, getting involved in meetups. That's the sort of stuff that Microsoft values because you're adding to the kind of global community of Excel. So yeah, pretty chuffed with it. Do you want me to talk about the less serious stuff though?
Let's go for it.
Okay, so off the back of being nominated, and obviously when people get nominated and get the award, they take it very seriously, as I do, because it's a serious award. But I had a conversation over Christmas and a few drinks with my brother-in-law about mixing his musical world with my very straight-laced Excel world and finance world.
So usually don't meet, do they? It's
Not
quite
no, they don't. And we just never found an opportunity to actually make that happen. And then I got nominated, and I said to him, like, we've got to do something. And we came up with this idea for a music video. He wrote the song. We produced the whole thing in a day before I'd been awarded the MVP award. So we did it all at risk. I could have been rejected. I could have been rejected. I think we still would have released it, but luckily I got accepted, and I think I'm probably now the only MVP with a music video. I don't know whether other people will now kind of try and follow suit, but for the moment I'm the only one.
But great engagement, I could see, of 500 plus likes or.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Huge,
and we didn't put any like ad spend behind it. It wasn't really for that. We wanted to do it as a bit of an in-community joke. Taking the mickey out of me predominantly.
And that jacket?
The jacket was just, I had to hunt around charity shops the day before. So there was the whole thing's an accident. The fact that I'm now called the humble MVP is an accident. It was just the joke text in the post saying, Miles, my business partner, saying, come on, Giles, well done for getting the award, but just be quiet, go about your business. People will respect you more. Just be humble. But yeah, it seems to have stuck.
Brilliant. So I guess with Excel, you're very well known now in the industry, but going back, I mean, where did it all begin? Where did that passion for using Excel and the tool come from?
Again, probably by accident. I mean, I did an accounting degree, but I ended up doing that because I didn't really know what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I did well in my accounting degree, and I went straight into a good job as like a bid analyst. So I was using Excel very heavily straight away, and I just really liked the challenge. I think this is quite common for serious Excel users.
Yeah.
They like the problem solving part of the work. So when it came to like getting a few years into my career, and most people are thinking about, I really want to be a manager and a director, I was kind of starting to push down that road, but I didn't have any passion for it. The thing I really wanted to do was get better at Excel.
Yeah.
And then when I hit 30, this is when I kind of found you guys, was I'd really hit that point where I'd been passed over for a promotion at one of the companies I was at, and I just thought, I've got to do something different. I had no idea what that was. And I never would have predicted 10 years ago when we all first met that I would be doing what I'm doing now. But you helped me on that journey of contractor, freelancer, consultant, and now sort of business owner, which is great.
Brilliant. And Excel, I guess, in terms of boosting someone's career and how you can get the most out of it. Obviously, you've seen how your career's gone in one direction, but it can go in others, can't it? In terms of how you use it and better your skill with it.
I think so. I mean, my path's probably been quite unusual, but a lot of what we do now is training teams of people. And it still amazes me how low the general level of Excel skill is. And it's not a dig at people, because when we go and work with teams, generally people are overworked. They're doing things that they don't need to be doing, but they haven't been shown a better way of doing it. Their managers might be overworked or focused on other things. And if you don't know what you don't know, it's not really your fault. So Excel, even if you're an employee, I still think like mastering Excel to a certain level is so valuable. We'll probably talk about this, but there's so much hype at the moment about AI and other third-party tools. But if you don't know how to use a table or XLOOKUP or Power Query in Excel, I guarantee you're already missing out on huge opportunities to make your life a lot easier.
Now, you talk about sort of upskilling people's Excel skills and how important that is. And I know you're a big advocate of the Excel championships.
Yes.
Can you just talk a little bit about that, both, I suppose, here in the UK, but also the World Championships in the States?
Yeah, so there is a world competition that's been running. I mean, there have been Excel competitions for many, many years, but the current form of it, the Excel World Championship, which a team led by a guy called Andrew Grigolonovich from Latvia, this team have just taken it to another level.
Yeah.
The finals are in Vegas every year. It's in the Luxor at the HyperX esports arena, so it's a proper esport.
You've got the audience there as well.
There's an audience there. It goes on ESPN. Lots of the videos from this last year and the year before have gone pretty viral online. It is bonkers. There's prize money, and I think the idea is that with more and more interest, the prize money will get. I would like to think it would get up to like other esport level of prize money, which could be insane numbers. But that competition is really hard. I was a commentator in Vegas last year.
Right.
Last minute, so I was in the booth with another MVP. It was a last minute thing. One of the main commentators was ill, and 2 days before because I was there anyway to talk. They said, "Do you want to step up and commentate?" Which I did. So it was like 14 hours over 2 days of commentating on what's happening on the big screens, which was just a crazy experience.
I was about to say, what was that like? Yeah,
yeah, intense and difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Because the cases are very difficult. So I had to learn 9 cases. If you haven't seen these, the context is that you're given a workbook with a bunch of challenges, and there'll be a theme like battleships or whatever it might be. And you get points for answering each of the questions. The questions get harder as you go through.
Yeah.
To the point where it's insane. And the people at the top of this sport are outrageously good at what they do, because to answer anything in 30 minutes, even understand the question for most people is really tough.
Yeah.
So there's the world competition, and then me and my team at Full Stack, and then a bunch of other people that are involved in the world have just launched the UK chapter of this. So it's getting to the point now where there are regional chapters, and we've just launched the UK one. So the first round, well, I don't know when this
So Full Stack sponsor.
Full Stack's running it and kind of commercially the partner of the world competition organization. And but we couldn't do it without the team around us, and we will be doing online rounds throughout the year, and then finals in London in September.
Yeah,
that will essentially get to the point where we have a UK champion, and then we will fly the UK champion out to Vegas in December, and they will represent the UK in the Worlds.
Amazing.
So it's pretty cool.
And do these people come from, obviously for our audience, primarily in the finance sphere? It's from all sort of disciplines. There's accountants that do it, but also...
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a financial modeling World Cup competition, and then there's the Excel esports. So financial modeling World Cup, you kind of have to be finance. Yeah. The Excel one, it's problem solving. So you would get engineers and other types of Excel users that are doing really well in the competition. It probably is still skewed a bit to finance.
Yeah.
But for anyone watching, I would strongly recommend you have a look at the Worlds and for your audience, the UK competition, because it's such a fun and challenging way to get better at Excel really quickly.
Now, again, for our audience, I mean, why is it crucial for finance and accounting professionals to really invest in their Excel knowledge?
To this day, the biggest thing we still see is finance teams very manually turning the wheel of things like month end.
Yeah.
So if anybody is still doing manual copy and paste work in any form as part of their month end process, they've got to invest in training in their team, because you'll get the kind of ROI on the training spend within months. It's
that quick. Yeah.
Definitely. And we've seen this a lot. We work with very big companies, hedge funds and banks, but we also work with kind of smaller and medium-sized companies. And Power Query is usually the first game changer if you're not using Power Query. So it's a feature in Excel. It's been around for about 12 years, to be honest. Yeah. It automates lots of processes. So you can bring data in, clean it up, load it into Excel or something else. And to this day, most teams don't use it at all or not very well. So the quick answer is that why should they invest in it? Because it would save so much time. And then your finance team gets to focus on the analysis part,
value add,
not just churning the numbers every month, which honestly, we've seen some teams where they're doing like 12 plus month end turnaround times from start to finish. And more than half of that is just getting the numbers in the right place to look at it. And then a number changes. So you got to do the whole thing again. And that's when people stay up late nights and over weekends. And it's totally unnecessary nowadays.
Now, you mentioned Power Query and automation. I mean, that brings us on to, how do you think that is going to affect AI and how that is going to impact Excel and, in the future, really? Because AI is obviously a huge topic that everyone's been...
Yeah, it's massive, not least because Microsoft talk about it all the time. So Microsoft is pushing very hard with Copilot, which is their kind of in-product LLM. So it definitely will totally transform how we work, without question. Yeah. It's it's at the early stages at the moment. So I, for example, and our company, we haven't pivoted to AI training at all yet because we just feel like it needs to settle a bit.
Yeah.
However, already you can use ChatGPT to create code. So you could use it in line with Power Query. You can use it to build all the M code if you want it to. It can create and troubleshoot VBA and lambdas and things like this in Excel. So there's a lot you can do already with tools like ChatGPT. I still think it's a little bit of hype right now, but it's a weird time because I think Microsoft and the tools need more feedback to get the answers right or more refined in the future. It's just a really frustrating phase at the moment where you might ask your AI tool of choice something and it doesn't always give you a very good answer and you think, oh, well, I could have done that quicker. I just done it myself. But I mean, we're just going to have to work through that phase, to be honest. My only advice to people, again, it's probably been a consistent message from us for 10 years in whatever work we've done, is try not to get too carried away with the latest hype.
Okay.
So if you don't know how to use functions, tables, Power Query, if you don't understand best practice modeling and flags and factors in Excel, I would focus there first before you worry about how can I implement Copilot across my organization. Like build your own foundations first and then layer on the really sophisticated stuff on top.
Okay. So, I mean, a great piece of advice there, for finance professionals. I mean, looking back, I mean, what was the most important piece of advice you received as you were going through your early stage in your career?
It's tricky. The most impactful thing at all, which wasn't really a piece of advice, but it was a book, and it's not unique to me, was Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Workweek, which was the book that originally kind of sparked something in my head that I wanted to essentially escape the kind of corporate office. And in that book, there was, I think he called it negative visualization, which I still use to this day, which was all about because we're all to some degree quite risk averse. And it's thinking like, I really want to quit my job and try this business idea, whatever it might be. And I think we quite naturally overestimate the risk and the potential downfall of it. So Tim Ferriss talked about if you have a scale of 1 to 10 of how bad could the impact be if this goes wrong. And I remember this, it's like, oh God, if I quit my job, it might go wrong. I might lose my house. I'll be homeless. I won't get to eat. And it's like, okay, that's a 10 out of 10 answer for how bad it is. Realistically, if you do a negative visualization exercise, it's like, okay, what would happen? I've got some money in the bank, so I'm not going to be homeless immediately. I've got family and friends. Worst case, 6 months down the line, if it's really not working, I'd probably get a contract or I could go back into a full-time job. So on the 1 out of 10 scale, it's maybe a 4 out of 10, really, worst case, not 10. So I try and keep that in my mind, and it has helped on a number of occasions where you go, oh God, oh my God, we've got this idea of a music video. What's the worst thing that could happen? Oh, I could be thrown out of the industry. Nobody will talk to me again because it's strict. Exactly. Isn't that okay? Well, actually, it's not that bad. We're going to do it the right way. Maybe some people won't get the joke. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm a professional. I've got certifications that back me as an individual. So it's probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10 rather than a 10.
And when you met us, because you were in a solid, a stable, permanent role, weren't you, with Arqiva? So it was a big leap to then go into the contract market. And I speak to a lot of people that are in the same situation. And, I don't want to say to people, hand your notice in, it'll be fine. You can find your next contract role. I mean, morally and ethically, I wouldn't want to do that as a recruiter. So I guess you had to sort of go through that and weigh up your options as you were doing that when we spoke.
I did, but I'm quite impulsive. So my business partner is called Miles. It's Miles and Giles at Full Stack. So it's Miles, the way he left full-time employment is definitely the more advisable route, which was like spend a year building up a nest egg of money and then slowly do some work on the side if you can, or at weekends, like build up a little bit of a base of test your service, see if people like it, build up the kind of process and the documentation, and then you can pivot. I got passed over for a promotion and the next day handed my notice in. I was like, right, I'm out. I'm out, I'm done. And then I went from there. So yeah, my level of impulsiveness was probably not advisable for most people, but somehow it seems to have worked.
Good. Now, I know we spoke about Tim Ferriss, your business partner as well. I mean, who's inspired you throughout your career? Do you think, looking back,
I don't
so much that, I want to be like that person, or take a lot of advice from them?
I don't think the Tim Ferrisses of the world are just they're such big, commercials is the wrong word, but they're just such global names. I wouldn't look at those as inspiration, although I think some of what he does do is quite inspiring. Yeah. It's the people that I've met in my career and outside of work that genuinely I look at and just think like, wow, there's something about you that I'm genuinely like blown away by. For example, I got into like Ironman and ultra training and competitions.
Yes.
Which we can do. So the first ever half Ironman I did was a charity event put on by a lady called Lucy Gossage, who is like, now she's like a cancer doctor. She's an oncologist, but at the time she was a multiple Ironman winner. She's just this year won the spine race, which is like for the women. She's won this 250-mile ultra, which is just the most brutal thing you could ever imagine. So there's people like that I look at, who I've actually been lucky enough on one or two occasions to meet Lucy in person, and she's lovely and also like tough as nails and brilliant. And then on top of it, she's a cancer doctor. Those are the people that I look at and just go like, okay, there's a lot about you that you're like, that's something you could aspire to be a bit more like. But there's lots of people like that in my life where they live life in a way where you think, actually you come away and you think, God, I really should do more than just play around with spreadsheets.
And you're right, it doesn't have to be someone in your field, or there's a lot of people you speak to, but as outside of work, there's people that inspire us all about. So
I've got friends who just live their life in a really good way. Like, again, there's times in my life where I think I'm quite kind of all or nothing. I'm not exercising, or I'm doing an ultra. And there are some people that are so good at just maintaining a consistent way of life, whether it's like how they get up in the morning and have a routine, or what they eat consistently, or whatever it might be. Some people I really admire who just manage life really well, whereas I'm just like, wait, let's do this. Oh, let's do that.
Are you doing an Ironman? What is the next chat? Because there's always something in terms of
No, there isn't.
At the moment, it's very much rest and.
Well, I'm competing in the XL World Championship, so I have literally. This is again the ridiculousness of how I make decisions, but I've gone from doing an ultra in South Africa last year to this year. I want to be getting to the finals of the XL World Championships. So that takes up all year and all the running, and now I'm doing lots more XL training. But yeah, there you go.
Now, we've talked about obviously inspirational characters. Are there any sources you go to for career advice or mentorship that you use for particular sort of ways of working, or
I mean, not so much in my Excel world, but again, what I would say is I've made quite a concerted effort to get involved in like the community of Excel and the players in the World Championship. So the source of guidance, or whatever you might call it, it's usually from real people in my circle, or close enough that I could reach out to, rather than Jay Shetty, who Become a Monk, which actually is quite a good book, but still, like, that's not my source of inspiration. It's Dim Early or Andrew Nye or Michael Jarman, or the people that are kind of better than me at what I do, but also just really decent people. So that, if there's any advice in there, it's look locally within your the groups that you're associated with. And then what I do quite regularly is reach out to people. So certainly in MVP world now, there's MVPs that I look up to, who I would quite often just message on LinkedIn and just say, hey, look, it'd be great to have a chat. We've never spoken before. So I've built some really good relationships through that. And then I can look at all their content on YouTube, whatever it is, and get inspiration from that as well.
Well, I think that concludes my guest speaking and guest presenting on this podcast today. Thank you, Giles,
Pleasure.
for coming on.